Let's go. Chop, chop.
Hey, good morning, my friends, and welcome to the morning briefing on this dreary morning. It's still great to be with you all. Have this cup of coffee, and man, I need it this morning because it's kind of windy. It's really cold down here this morning, especially when you're barefoot and in your swim trunks just at daybreak. You have to be crazy to do that, or you'd have to be doing the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Welcome. We've got an incredible show for you here this morning. There is so much to talk about. 300-pound yellowfin tuna on the long range scene. Some great fishing in Baja. I know, I told you I was going to cover Baja in a separate report, but this is too good to pass up. Bluefin tuna news that's going to blow your mind. An extraordinary day at 22nd Street Landing yesterday. Some halibut, so much more, everybody. Good morning. I need it. Welcome to the morning briefing. Oh my God, that is so good. Hey, I want to take a moment to send my best wishes to Paul Burbank. Paul, keep getting better, my friend. I'm with you right here on the morning briefing. I'm with you 24/7. Keep getting better, my friend. I hope you're feeling better really, really soon. And happy birthday, Danny Cadota. Of course, Danny has his own show here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel, and I hear it all the time. They love you, Danny, and so do I. Happy birthday, my friend. It is good to be with you all the time. All right, we got a lot to talk about. Remember, you can become a Patreon member for as little as $5 a month. You can help us produce more and more content. So $60 a year, you get all this entertainment. I mean, how could you pass that up? And it really does help us a lot. So if you're able to do it, fantastic. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video right now. Just smash that like button. And of course, share the videos if you have a friend, with your friends. I hope you have a friend. Share it with a friend, and that helps us to grow and grow and grow. Almost 2 million views since we launched. Almost 200,000 hours consumed by you. Really, really appreciate it. All right, let's start long range and talk about the Red Rooster Third because they've got extraordinary fishing going on right now. They've got a couple of 300-pounders. Yellowfin tuna, over 300 yesterday, a couple over 200 pounds, and copious amounts of 80 to 170-pound YFT. Some really good fishing on the Rooster right now, and that is fantastic news. They've also had that good sprinkling of wahoo in their counts. So really nice long-range fishing. Hopefully they'll see some more of that as they're already fishing here this morning. And, you know, they're fishing 600 miles down the Baja coast, something like that, and having some really, really good fishing, sometimes a little bit further and even a little closer. Nice bite for them, no question about it. All right, I mentioned to you that I had to talk a little bit of Baja, and I definitely do, because Manny Ryan was down there in the Bay of LA, Bahia de Los Angeles, and they had a bite. Man, I look at it and I go, I want to do that. I definitely want to do that. Snowy grouper just raining on. Nice big ones, beautiful fish. Great fishing for them. And of course, they were down there fishing with Fish Arms, ARMZ. Fish Arms Sport Fishing with Captain Misael Martinez. Great bite on the snowy grouper. And we can't leave Juan Cook out of this one. Juan Cook is an extraordinary fisherman. He's been slow pitching for yellows in Gonzaga Bay, and he's been doing really, really good. So nice fishing south of the border. Of course, in Ensenada, our friends down there at Blackfin Sport Fishing continue to hammer away on the rockfish, getting a signal of yellowtail. There's yellows down below there at San Martin Island and along the coast. So San Quintin biting pretty darn well. There's good surf fishing all throughout that area for bar perch. Really nice fishing going on south of the border. So that is all great news, and hopefully it's going to continue. All right, let's get you up on this side of the border and then go over to the other side of the border because, of course, we're watching that yellowtail bite at the Coronado Islands. It's good some days, and it's hit and miss others. It's typical wintertime fishing. What the heck can I tell you? It's not that consistent. 7 yellowtail yesterday on the San Diego out of C4 Sport Fishing. You're going to get your shots. They've had as many as 20 on the yellows in the mid-20s. So that is good fishing, and the grade of fish has been absolutely gorgeous, like 18 to 25 pounds, pretty common on that yellow tail. In the wintertime, you would expect it to be kind of a deeper bite, and that's exactly what it is. So yo-yo iron, which is my favorite, 50-pound, fish that, and wind on that jig fast and just keep turning the handle to set the hook. That is definitely the way to make it happen. You can also drop or loop, however, with a sardine, and they will bite that very, very well also. Hey, a note that Day at the Docks is this Sunday. It's going to be a great celebration. I will be there. Can't wait to see you. I'll be walking around. Make sure you say hello. I would love to thank you for your great support here on the channel. It means a lot to me. And then the Bart Hall Show coming up at the end of the month at the Long Beach Convention Center. The granddaddy of them all is going to be a great show also. I will also be walking around there. I'll hang out with Sam De La Torre at his booth. Sam, by the way, is scheduled to be on Tuesday night, but there's a little caveat I'll throw in here. Sam's got baseball practice with his kids, and there's nothing more important to him than that. If it rains, however, he'll be able to join us Tuesday Night Live, and Danny Cadota Thursday Night Live. Later today, we'll be releasing some of our Bass Pro Shops podcasts that we did. Kevin Brannon did a great job. Steve Carson, my son Philip. It was really good. We have a CCA podcast. It's all good stuff, and that will be coming out a little later today. Hey, the sun is actually starting to shine through here a little bit, so I can actually see, and that ocean is a little breezy this morning. We'll see what happens. Might as well get you up to date on the weather before I continue with some other fishing. And our weather, we're going to have rain again starting tomorrow. So Tuesday and Wednesday look like they're going to be wet, and then we're going to have wind on Wednesday. Then it kind of mellows out. If you were looking offshore, and I'll get into this bluefin situation in a moment, all the way out there to Tanner Bank, Saturday looks very fishable, and then Sunday looks like it could get rough. So that day and a half trip on board the Pegasus, leaving on St. Patrick's Day, the Friday coming up here, you'll be able to get out there and hammer away on some bluefin tuna. Maybe. Because we stopped and caught one this year, and we're wondering what the heck the deal is. All right, first of all, Mexico shut their commercial seiner season down on the 17th of January. It took them 16 days to reach their quota. So that is evidence that there's a lot of bluefin. And then I get news yesterday of a research vessel, totally confirmed, a research vessel that came down and looked at San Clemente Island, looked at Tanner and Cortez outside of there, and he saw several spots of bluefin tuna, including a lot of that big stuff. So that is fantastic news. It certainly bodes well. I know I might be getting carried away. We haven't caught one yet, but it certainly looks outstanding. Looks like it's going to be good, and that's why I'm high on that Pegasus trip. I understand a couple of other guys are going to run some trips. Tomahawk is going to run a trip. Pacific Dawn is trying to get out. They don't have all that many people. And, you know, it kind of, with this weather, kind of puts a damper on the situation. So we'll have to see what happens. But it's going to be perfectly fishable, especially that Friday night trip on the Pegasus out of Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. That looks good. It's going to get a little windy in the afternoon on Saturday out there at Tanner Cortez, and I don't even know where they're headed. But if they were planning on going out that way, it looks like it'll be fishable to me. We'll watch it very closely for you all, because once again, these long-range forecasts sometimes are a little dicey. All right, let's talk. We talked about that bluefin. That is very encouraging. We talked about the San Diego yellows. The Pride was out bouncing around local islands there, Catalina, Santa Barbara, San Clemente. They've all had some squid, but they had a very difficult time making any amount of squid at all. So they fished halibut and came up with a nice bite. 9 halibut on that most recent day and a half trip on board the Pride. There's been some private boater catches of sea bass, but it lacks consistency also. And many times you need to get that water temp to about 60 degrees to get that bite really going good. And then when it gets up above that, it bites even better. But Sean Roberts, Michael Potvin, man, they fish hard, and it wouldn't surprise me to see them pull some sea bass on their next day and a half trip. Pursuit's been fishing Catalina Island, some sculpin and sheep's head, looking pretty good for whitefish over there. and hopefully they'll get a sea bass bite. Pursuit looking good this year. Also, as we take a look at our local boats from San Diego all the way up to Marina del Rey and up into the Santa Barbara region, we continue to catch whitefish, sheep's head, and sculpin. Remember, our rockfish season is closed right now, but we're moving up on that quickly. April 1st, rockfish opens up here in Southern California. For now, you have to go to Mexican waters to fish for rockfish. So keep that in mind. But, you know, boats like the Monte Carlo and several other guys picking away at the whitefish and the sculpin and a few sheep's head, providing excellent table fare and just a day out in the water. I mean, I don't know how you can beat it. Yesterday down at 22nd Street Landing, we had a lovely day. My good friend Eddie Leland was there, and him and Paul Strasser, well, they were chatting about old times together. Paul, of course, owns much of he owns all kinds of stuff, but the Independence, the long-range boat, is one thing he owns. The Landing, 22nd Street, Point Loma. Paul's an extraordinarily giving and good guy, and him and Eddie really had some fun yesterday. Eddie got to fish on the Independence yesterday, and he was putting the wood to the tomcod. And of course, we had a couple of other great guys there, and it made it so much fun. Chuck from the Redondo Rod and Reel Club, or no, he's the Rod and Gun Club. Sorry, Chuck. His son Charlie, his daughter was there. Everybody was having such a good time. And also Dan with Michael Limon, young man who loves to fish. It was good to have them there. We went upstairs and had an extraordinary lunch thanks to Chuck's generosity, and it was so good. And then as we were having lunch, all of a sudden it got really quiet. Everybody was looking out the window, and the Independence was coming back in to dock up. That was the only break we had to some really great food. If you haven't dined there before, you ought to go upstairs there at 22nd Street Landing and dine, because it is good. I had the shrimp Louis salad. It was great. Michael sitting next to me had the fish and chips. My wife is crazy about the fried calamari. We're there a lot of Thursday afternoons. So really great food and a really great time. And moreover, just a wonderful time with Eddie and Chuck and Dan and the kids. We really had an extraordinary time. All right, don't forget, become a Patreon member. Help us to produce even more content, as that's exactly what we want to do, and we want to keep that rolling for you. And of course, Tuesday night, Sam De La Torre, if it rains. Thursday night, Danny Cadota. Sunday, day at the docks. It's gonna be an extraordinary week. And a little bit later today, I'll have some of those Bass Pro podcasts. We'll start dripping those out throughout the week. You're gonna love them. They were fantastic. The guests were absolutely out of control great. All right, my friends, it is cold here this morning. I'm freezing. I'm gonna get out of it. Well, I know what'll warm me up. This spiritually delicious coffee. One more. Ah, that's even getting lukewarm. It's so cold out here. You have a great day. As always, it is my pleasure to be with you all. There's some extraordinary stuff. Great signal on that bluefin tuna. Hopefully we'll catch more yellows in San Diego. I love that bite south of the border. That's been really, really good. And hey, Alberto, he came all the way down to 22nd Street Landing yesterday just to get a photo with me and tell me how much he loves our podcast. Alberto, deeply appreciate that. Have a great one. Take care, and I hope to see you really, really soon, my friends. Ah, delicious.